The public are warped by their primal instincts, and these are the driving force in human behavior. They're also not mentioned by pundits and psychiatrists. Their job is to sugarcoat the status quo, no matter how brutal the status quo might be. They conceal the foundations of consciousness, and the masses remain clueless about the core of human nature. The genetic code includes kindness and cooperation. Sadly, there's also greed, hatred and violence, and conformity combined with stupidity. The greed and hatred could not be more obvious. They're easy to spot across history, literature, and the daily news feed. Conformity and stupidity are more complex and need some explaining. The phenomenon has many brand names. They include truism, conventional wisdom, and mob mentality, but the moving parts are the same. In short, the brain is a lazy beast. When things get complicated, people choose the simple answer. When disagreements happen, they stick with their own group, and it doesn't matter that the party line is usually wrong. They enforce it with peer group pressure, slap on blinders, and march in formation over the cliff. The animal instincts are easily harnessed by financial elites. Actually, there are many rhetorical tricks and emotional levers in constant use across the public square. These are explained in the Big Book of Propaganda on Amazon, and it's imperative for the public to understand them all. One of the worst is the oversimplification. It shovels dumb slogans and talking points onto public bandwidth, each tailored for a voting bloc and all designed to tell half the story. Open borders is sold to liberals as humanitarianism. They don't notice that it's really about cheap labor and screwing over blue-collar people. Supply side is sold to conservatives as economic stimulus. They don't realize that it cripples government, transfers millions to the rich through interest payments, and piles debt on our kids and grandkids. The very worst is the culture war, which exploits human tribalism. It keeps the public fighting among themselves over trivia, while the powers that be plunder the financial system. To recap, society is shaped by the primitive core of human nature: greed, hatred and violence, and conformity fused with stupidity. And these are exploited by elite groups using a bucketful of rhetorical scams. As a result, modern society is the same dog-eat-dog nightmare that it's been since the Colosseum. But there is a way out. It starts with a careful look at the genetic code. Once we recognize the base instincts, they're easier to control. But it's a sad and lonely process. Rational thought is alien to the mob and incomprehensible to the masses. And it's no fun watching hundreds of millions of people in the grip of mass delusion. On the plus side, we can see the world as it really is. Of course, logic is never perfect, but it works a lot better without input from the reptile brain. It's also satisfying to live outside of low mass culture and according to facts, logic, and the ethical framework. There are several of those to choose from. My favorite is the Judeo Christian, which features kindness, fairness, and practicality. Those lead to socially responsible choices, and the benefits are off the scale. If widely practiced, a few lifestyle changes would reform even our most corrupt institutions faster than a goose on the loose. And the rational life is not that hard. It doesn't mean poverty or starvation or doing without anything that we really need. It takes self-awareness to recognize the animal instincts. It wants self-discipline to control them, and it needs strength of character to buck the mob. None of these are beyond your average Joe.